Okay, we're live, and I wish it was under happier circumstances, but I just got the news that Bruce Willis, famous actor, of course, everyone knows him from Die Hard, Pulp Fiction, tons of amazing movies. He was diagnosed with aphasia, and of course, I didn't know what that was. I'm sure most of you are confused as well. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and read the statement from his daughter, Rumor Willis. Rumor says on her Instagram, to Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. This is really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support. We are moving through this as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you as you do to him. As Bruce always says, live it up. And together we plan to do just that. Love, Emma, Demi, Rumor Scout, to how do you say that? Talua, Mabel, and Evelyn. Hope I said those names right. The family has not disclosed the cause of Bruce's aphasia. So I had to figure out what this thing was. So people with aphasia experiences changes in their ability to communicate, according to the Mayo Clinic, and they may speak in short or incomplete sentences, speak in sentences that don't make sense, substitute one word for another or one sound for another, speak unrecognizable words, not understand other people's conversation, or write sentences that don't make sense. So it sounds like basically he can't communicate with people. And that's, to me, that's like really scary. Aphasia can present differently in people depending on where they have experienced the brain damage. Damage on the left side of the brain may lead to language problems, while damage on the right side of the brain can cause poor attention or memory issues. And there are two types of aphasia, fluent and non-fluent. And the most common type is fluent, which can result in people saying that's the one where they have the long, incomplete sentences that have no meaning, adding unnecessary words and creating made up words. And the most common type of non-fluent aphasia is Broca's aphasia, which can make people speak in short phrases that are produced with great effort, despite being able to understand speech and know what they want to say. Oh my God. How frustrating is that? Aphasia typically affects middle-aged or older people, but even young children can experience a condition. And it says over 2 million people are affected by this, which is crazy to me. And what they can do, so they can do speech language therapy to improve their communication abilities. And it aims, the therapy aims to improve the person's ability to communicate by helping him or her to use remaining language abilities, restore language abilities as much as possible, or learn other ways to communicate. So it sounds like there's two different types of aphasia. There's like one that's caused by a stroke, and then there's one that's caused by a brain injury. And so they didn't say which one Bruce Willis had, but some things that you can do to decrease the probability of having a stroke, if you exercise regularly, eat a healthy diet and avoid cholesterol, keeping alcohol consumption low and avoiding tobacco use, control your blood pressure, and go to the emergency room immediately if you begin experiencing unilateral extremity swell, like leg swelling, basically. I think that's what that means. Warm, redness, or tenderness could be symptoms of a deep vein thrombosis, which can lead to a stroke. So good to know. Ways that you would prevent aphasia due to a traumatic brain injury is just, you got to take those precautions, like wearing a helmet when you're bicycling, motorcycling, ATV, or other sort of thing. Wear a seatbelt, wear protective gear if you're playing sports. And this was interesting. I read minimize anticoagulant use, including aspirin, if at all possible, as they increase the risk of a hemorrhage after a head injury. But I thought like you're supposed to take aspirin to reduce your risk of a heart attack. So it's one of those confusing medical advice things. So sad stuff. So treatment, at least 2 hours of treatment per week is recommended to make any sort of significant gains. So it sounds like there's a bunch of different things that they can do, speech type therapy, trying different things. You can read about that on your own. Maybe it's not that interesting. However, if the symptoms appear longer than 2 or 3 months after a stroke, a complete recovery is unlikely. However, it's important to know that some people continue to improve over a period of years and even decades. So that's good to hear. Improvement is a slow process that it usually involves both helping the individual and family understand the nature of the aphasia and learning compensatory strategies for communicating. So, tough stuff. Now, if it was due to a traumatic brain injury, it says the brain undergoes several healing and reorganization processes, which may result in improved language function. And this is referred to as spontaneous recovery. So spontaneous recovery is a natural recovery that the brain makes without treatment, and the brain begins to reorganize and change in order to recover. So we don't know if he had this aphasia due to a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, but it sounds like with the traumatic brain injury, you have a better chance of recovery. Although you can still make improvements with the other style, or the other kind, if you go through all these therapy things that they have. I wonder too if there's I mean, it seems like they're doing so many things with brain surgery and stuff. I mean, talking about putting chips in people's brains. I wonder how close they are to curing something like this with possibly with a chip in your brain or something. I had that neuroscientist on my show, Dr. Morin Cerf, and he talked about putting chips in people's brains. It sounds scary, but I think for something like this, if it's like put a chip in your brain or have to deal with this disease, I think I'd opt for the chip. So what a horrible thing. Obviously, nobody deserves something like this. And if there's a lesson in this for any of us, it may just be to be grateful for our health and the health of our loved ones. So you just never know when something like this is going to hit. So let's all be grateful for the time that we have. Life is short. Go hug your loved ones, reach out to that friend that you haven't talked to, take a chance and go after that goal that you've been meaning to accomplish. But you think, oh, I'll do that later. Well, later may never come because life is short. So obviously Bruce Willis has had an amazing career, and we wish him a full recovery. I'd love to see him make a comeback to acting because I'm sure that's what he loves to do. And he doesn't want to just sit around and deal with this. So best wishes to Bruce. Terrible thing. So yeah, hopefully we'll update you guys as we learn more.